Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna talk about something that honestly shows up way too often in the K-pop world, and that is apologies. I will be talking about Kiss of Life case as it's recent and I want to share my opinion, but I actually want to take a step back and talk about the bigger picture regarding apologies in general. So without anything else to say, let's get into it. Apologies in the K-pop industry have become something we see constantly, to the point where many fans expect a written statement anytime an idol says or does something that creates a negative reaction online. And over time, this practice has become almost automatic, a kind of ritual that's meant to reset things and make the problem go away as quickly as possible. A big part of this comes from the way fans relate to idols. The K-pop industry is built on closeness and familiarity. Fans are encouraged to feel like they personally know the members of a group through live streams, behind-the-scenes content, and all kinds of personal messages, and because of that connection, we sometimes believe that everything the idols say or do is coming directly from them, that it's authentic, that they're always being genuine. But we often forget that K-pop is an industry with a system behind it, and that companies have a huge role in shaping what idols do and say. They're trained, styled, managed, and monitored constantly. And while idols do have their own opinions and personalities, they are still working within an environment that treats them as products meant to bring in profit. So when something happens that could harm the group's image or the company's reputation, regardless of whether the criticism is fair or not, the company's priority is to reduce the damage. They're not necessarily focused on encouraging honest conversations or growth. They want to protect the brand, and the easiest way to do that is to issue an apology. These apologies usually follow the same format, either a statement from the company or a handwritten letter posted by the idol on social media. And on the surface they might look sincere, especially the handwritten ones, because fans tend to associate handwriting with emotion and honesty. But most of the time, these are carefully written with the help of managers or PR teams, and the idol may not have had full control over what was said. Even if the idol is the one physically writing it, there's a high chance the message has already been reviewed and approved by others, which makes it difficult to know what's really genuine and what is more of a strategy. The line between personal responsibility and corporate control gets blurry very fast. There have been plenty of cases where apologies felt completely unnecessary, like when Jae from ENHYPEN apologized for saying that Rome had a long history compared to Korea, which is a historical fact. Or when idols had to explain themselves for having certain friendships or for using everyday expressions that were somehow misunderstood. And then there are more serious cases where the issue is clear and deserves a real conversation. But the apology still ends up sounding vague and rehearsed because the company is more focused on calming the backlash than actually addressing what went wrong. Kiss of Life is a great example of how this plays out. The group has been gaining popularity for their talent and fresh concept, but during a birthday live stream for Julie, they did a themed event around old-school hip-hop, and that included wearing cornrows and bantanots, speaking in exaggerated slang, using stereotypical accents, and overall treating the culture more like a costume than something they understood or respected.
Wait, who that? Who that? Come out. Oh my. Are you sure you don't talk about? I'm not sure though. I was kind of drunk. Let's talk about another. Liar. No, I didn't. Oh, liar. What? Who that? 마음에 안 들어. Who that? 자꾸 우리 주원이 생기는 거 마음에 안 들어. Who that? 잠깐만 들어봐. 하루 종일 마음에 안 들어. 야, 오빠 전화 밖에. 오빠 전화. 아니, Bob Sky. Julie, who is she? Bob Sky, she said. You didn't even tell me. Bob Sky. Did you bring her? Just Bob Sky. Just Bob Sky. No, I'm talking about me flirting with my man, and that's not a bestie. I didn't. 그건 조심해. I didn't flirt with my man. It's just me. 오빠. Just me. 이거 바꿨던. You know me. 이름 뭔데? Let's talk about. Let's talk about. She's my bestie.
People online quickly pointed out that the use of those hairstyles, especially bantanots which come from African culture, was offensive and felt like cultural appropriation. And a lot of the criticism came from international fans who were disappointed because they felt the group was smart enough to know better. What made things even more complex was the fact that 3 of the 4 members speak fluent English, and 2 of them, Julie and Belle, are from the United States. meaning they've grown up around these conversations and probably knew how this kind of performance would be received. In fact, Belle even posted a message before the live stream saying something like, "Promise you won't leave the fandom after watching this," which many interpreted as a sign that she already knew it could be controversial. And while some fans defended it as a joke, others felt it showed awareness without responsibility. At first, seeing all the backlash, the live stream was removed from YouTube, and then a statement was released by the company, apologizing for causing discomfort and saying they would be more careful in the future. But this statement came from the company, not from the members themselves. And that made people question who was really behind it and whether the group was actually being held accountable. Later, the members did release a personal apology, but again, it followed the same familiar pattern. They said they had taken the concept too far and would reflect on their actions. But many people felt that the apology didn't fully address the specific reasons why the live stream was offensive, especially to Black fans who were hurt by the stereotypes and by how casually the culture was used, and saying that they took the concept too far, as if what they've done has something to do with concepts and nothing with culture, makes us see that they really don't understand what the problem was. I've seen this comment that I think reflects perfectly the issue. If she wanted a hip-hop theme party, why not just decorate the place with posters and stuff of hip-hop artists, play their music? They could even do something fun like eating the favorite food of their favorite hip-hop artists. I don't know, it could have been cute, but no, they decided to just play on stereotypes. There was no reason for them to be dressed like that and be acting like that, just disrespectful. This brings us back to the bigger issue, which is whether these things come from the idols or the industry behind them. Fans get emotionally attached and sometimes forget that not everything comes from the idols themselves. But K-pop companies are deeply involved in everything from styling to script writing to public statements. And when something goes wrong, their first move is usually to protect the group's public image, not to encourage meaningful discussion. So even though the apology might come with emotional language or a handwritten letter, it's often a tool meant to reduce backlash and move on, not necessarily a sign that the person fully understands the problem or has changed because of it. As for Kiss of Life, they've received a lot of criticism, but whether this will seriously affect on the general public. They have been losing followers, but other groups have recovered from scandals before. But the way they respond matters. If it feels like they're avoiding the issue or pretending it never happened, that can leave a lasting impact. Right now, they are on tour, and just today they have made their performance in Bangkok where they seem emotional, but they have continued with normality their concerts. Some of the members have also uploaded photos normally. Also, just to clarify, there was a rumor going around that Tyla unfollowed them on Instagram after the incident, but that wasn't true. She never followed them in the first place, and the screenshots that were shared were fake. In the end, the way apologies work in K-pop says a lot about how the industry operates. It's not just about whether someone is sorry, it's about what the system allows them to say and how quickly things can be covered up. As fans, it's important to think critically about these situations, to ask ourselves whether the apology is meaningful or just a way to protect the brand, and to remember that idols, no matter how talented or relatable they seem, are working within a structure that doesn't always prioritize truth and respect.
And this has been all. I hope you like it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. It would help me a lot. See ya.